without loss of generality. We are talking about context. Context is a very frequently thrown around word that, when people want to talk to me about language or linguistics or how they want to explain certain context. If you have a sentence, I spend a lot of time at the bank. Well, the meaning of the word bank really depends on the context that it appears in, but they'll just say, oh, well, for that, you just need to look at the context. Or you have sentences like I walk versus I walk markets, which sounds super wrong in English. But they'll say, well, a good use of the word markets really depends on the context. In that case, they meant grammatical rules, which is really annoying when people say that's just a context. No, you have to look at the context. But the annoying thing that when you learn English or any language, that nobody is ever clear about what the freaking context means. What about when you step into a restaurant and you say, for two, please. For two, please. You hardly have any context as you would say it. The context is where the speech is being uttered. So how the hell would you understand such a statement for two to mean I would like a table for two people at this restaurant at this time, because that's what it actually means. So there's this theory from linguistics and slash from AI. It's called script and schema. What script and schema is actually a stereotypical chain of narrative events that happen in the social context. So for example, when you go to a restaurant, learn from your experience somehow that when you go to a restaurant, you have to walk to a counter, tell how many people you want or what you want, and then you'll be assigned a waiter. A waiter give you a table, and they'll give you a menu. You look at the menu, and so on. So for two can only be interpreted under this kind of script. What script is in linguistics is actually a top-down control to give you the context for interpretation of what a sentence means, which is really interesting in that when we talk about linguistics, we always talk about the processing from the bottom up, like a word level become a phrase or a grammatical rule on what a word could mean or what adjective can be combined with a word. We learn a lot how babies acquire languages more effortlessly at the word level, at the sound level, at the sentence level, and so on. But it's still kind of unclear how we learn such scripts through experience so that you can use it for interpreting languages. So there's actually a lot of work where they try to learn this kind of social script in order to model the learning process and also to learn various scripts that would be useful for natural language processing. One way that schema can be used successfully in linguistics is that you need a model of a few components. One component is roles, so you have to know what kind of role that each agent that participate in this kind of script take on. So it's like a movie script or something. You are assigned a role. You are the customer or you're a waiter or you're the host of that restaurant. And events, so you must have a set of events on what needs to happen at a certain time and who participate in these events that need to happen in that narrative. And also at each event, you have a really strict set of lexicon on what you can really communicate at certain time. In a movie script, you are given exactly what you have to say, but in social script, as we found out, is that in language, there are many ways of expressing certain things, yet the lexicon for expressing those can be quite limited. And script and schema are actually the backbone component of the conversational bots, or what we say chatbots these days, that we want to know and love. And unfortunately, the research in statistical learning of these social scripts is not really to the point where you can just extract just about any script so that we can make those conversational bots much smarter so that it can perform in many contexts. Sorry, it ended up being kind of like a mini lecture, but that's what I'm good at. So, John, I'll see you next time.